So I found a pair of keys. This guy walked into the office,
And it wasn't as simple as just handing him his keys back.
no, how did that happen, Lisa?
We had to hear the whole story of how he lost the keys.
True
great.
that. And
Oh,
we're
it's a
captive.
story.
You're a captive audience
You
when you're a camp host. Why? Because you're there for them to tell you their stories. Well, the reason he lost his keys is because they were in the same pocket as the poop bags, and he was taking his dog for a walk, and his dog puked, and so he had to reach into his pocket with the poop bags, and then of course his keys fell out, and so that's why he lost his keys.
Because his dog puked. That's important to know.
Yeah, I'm glad we know. Could have left us hanging.
Alrighty, we've been campground hosts for part of the summer, which certainly does not make us experts at
No.
camp hosting, but we do have a few stories to share, some fun stuff, and some things that your camp host would really like you to know.
I wish I would have known these things when I was a camper at certain campgrounds so that I wasn't such a horrible person camping.
We're going to make you better campers today.
That's right, that's the goal. Us too.
Okay, so you see all kinds of weird things when you're at a campground, like people putting their porta potty toilet right beside my mom and dad's trailer door. That's not awkward at all. Okay, when it comes to reservations, there's a few things that you need to know. First of all, please use your same name when you make your reservation as you do when you check into your campsite.
That's right. What's your name? Oh, I can't find you anywhere. I don't think you have a reservation. No, I do.
Exactly. And I even said to this one lady, so is it possible that it's booked under a different name? Nope, no, it has to be that name.
Well,
it was
it's
a
not
different
here.
name. She had a hyphenated name. She used one, not the other. Anyway, it was complicated and confusing. In the end, she did have a reservation, so that's great. Later on, her friends came to visit her, and they said, we're looking for so-and-so, and they used even a different name. So this woman has 3 aliases that she goes by. So when you book your reservation, make sure you use the same name. Make sure that you confirm and write down the date of your reservation. And the campground name actually had somebody.
Oh my goodness.
More than once has happened. People would come in and say that they had a reservation. I have a reservation for tonight. I'm like, well, I don't have you in the system. And they would say, absolutely, I'm in the system. And we would argue about this for a little bit because they were adamant that they had a reservation.
And I want to go in the other gate.
Yeah, I want to go in the other gate.
We only have one gate here.
There's only one entrance to this
No,
campground.
I want to go in the other gate.
No, you guys have another entrance to this campground. No, we don't actually. It was a different campground she was thinking of. It was another campground close to the one that we were at. Anyway, just make sure you write it down, especially if you're going to book way ahead, and make sure you know those dates because it can get really frustrating if you think you're going to be there for 2 or 3 nights, but you actually only booked for 1 night. Yikes. Make sure you confirm and write it all down.
Do you sell wood here?
All right, Kent, let's talk about rules.
Okay. Hey, I have to tell you, I have a confession to make.
Confession time.
Am not the best rule follower. And unfortunately, I learned that about myself in a bigger way when we were campground hosts, because I would have to tell people to not do certain things that I would be very guilty about doing. Like, having your fire that comes up 4.5 feet off of your fire pit. It's like nothing wrong with that if you know how to take care.
Everybody likes a big bonfire right beside their motorhome, right?
Yeah. So the campground host comes by and says, "Hey, you can't have a fire that big. That needs to be much lower than that. Keep it within the confines of the fire pit." And I'm like, "Who are you?" This is my fire. And it's amazing, don't you think? It's incredible.
I worked hard to make this fire this
I worked very hard, and it's wet wood, so like I have to have a big fire in order to make sure that it burns well. I have all the excuses. Okay, that's me. I'm sorry. Okay, I got one more. Like, we parked in Pio Pico, and
Pio Pico is in San Diego.
Yeah, we really wanted to park our motorhome straight in so that our door would be on the same side as the other people we were with. which is totally normal. And guess what? We've also experienced that as camp hosts. And what are the rules? The rules are no. You park in like everybody else.
Back in, you don't
We're
drive
in a campground. Everybody gets to park in the same way. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so, of course, 4 in the morning, I got a love note from one of the camp hosts down there that said, "You're parked wrong. Please repark your vehicle." And so I actually went to the office the next morning and said, "Hey, I got this love note. Can I have an exception?" And they said, "Sure."
So they gave us an exception, but
They shouldn't have.
They shouldn't have. And sorry, guys, for doing that.
We won't do it again. We've learned.
Oops, we've learned. Do you have Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Free Wi-Fi?
what's the Wi-Fi password?
So sometimes you get into a campground and you realize that there are rules that make sense, like not having a giant fire.
Yeah.
And there are rules that might be deemed as stupid rules. And the campground that we worked at had some stupid rules.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you still have to obey those stupid rules because you're a camper in their campground and they get to make those rules. So
Yes.
just obey them. Even if you don't agree with them, even if you think they're stupid or you can't understand why the rules are there, they're probably there for a reason. And even if they're not,
You have
just
to have
the way it is, guys. Sorry.
You have to have the right attitude. That's the
It's
thing.
true.
So if you're a camper that loves to, put all your stuff around and have loud music and have a big fire and have a hammock tied to the trees,
Yeah.
go to a state park, go to a provincial park that's a lot more rustic.
Or boondock at
Yeah.
a place where there are no rules, really. So I think it's important to understand what kind of camper you are. If you're the type of camper that really enjoys full hookups and being around lots of people and in that campground, that secure environment of a campground, then that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But just know that if you're camping in a campground, you're going to have to just obey some of those
Different
rules.
standards.
All of those rules, actually.
Yeah. And your attitude needs to adjust appropriately.
Yeah. So one thing your camp host wants you to know is that we actually don't love telling you the rules.
Don't
And
park on the grass.
be quiet at 11 o'clock. And
Have a lower fire.
pick up your dog poop and all that stuff. We don't like saying those things.
You need to be out by 12 because we have other people coming in.
Yeah.
Because it's 12:15 and you're still here.
And you still haven't packed up or left. So just recognize that even though camp hosts have to do that, that's their job, that's their role, most camp hosts don't enjoy doing that. So you can make their life a lot easier by just taking care of stuff ahead of time. Make sure you're out at noon. Make sure you pick up your dog's poop. And you know what, guys? Say thank you to your camp hosts.
Yeah.
They work really hard to keep things running smoothly for your awesome camping experience.
Because we love running over to your campsite when you're gone and picking up all the garbage out of your fire pit.
Not. Said no camp host ever.
Said no camp host ever. That's right. But what we do love hearing is, hey, those bathrooms, they're amazing. Thank you for keeping them so clean. And wow, the grass around here looks awesome. And, everything works that's supposed to work. Thank you. And the power plugs all work and everything else works. But go ahead.
We also love hearing your stories of your traveling. So
Yes.
as you're coming through, going to Alaska or coming back from Alaska, or if you're, here for a family reunion or a ball tournament or whatever, tell us. Talk to your camp hosts about that. They enjoy having a little chin wag every once in a while, too.
That's right. When you are in a campground and you have a breakdown, they'll accommodate. They understand that can happen. You might have to call a repairman. You might have to call in a service. This happens.
Yeah, so that's actually brings up a really good point about communication.
Yes.
So communicating with your camp host is really important. If you have any issues at all, even if you do have a complaint or a concern, we're not saying don't voice your complaint or don't ask for an exception to a rule, but do it in a nice, respectful, and kind way. That makes all the difference. So communicate if you have any issues at all. Definitely do that. Oh, one thing we did want to say is that we had sometimes had people that would party late into the night, but on the other side of the campground from where the host is staying. So, we wouldn't hear any noise.
No.
So we're sound asleep.
We'd
the
listen.
next morning, people would complain and say, oh, by the way, that neighbor was really loud until 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's not acceptable, but there's nothing we can do about it after the fact. So my recommendation is either get up and knock on the door of the camp host. That's what they're there for. They do get paid to be on call all night long. Or call the local police detachment if it's a big deal, like if you feel unsafe or if
threatened.
you feel that someone else is being threatened. Go ahead and do that. Just because you're in a campground doesn't mean you can't go ahead and call the authorities. So
Then there's one other option.
okay.
You could wear earplugs.
If it's just a regular noise thing, people are having a late
Yeah.
night party or there's traffic or whatever, definitely invest in a good set of earplugs if you're planning on spending time in a campground.
I don't like wearing earplugs, but guess what? Sometimes it's
It makes
necessary.
sense. Yeah.
So speaking of attitude,
Yes.
if you get told, hey, we don't have a different place in the park for you, this is your campsite, sorry if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Great. That's the open door to let's complain about everything.
Yeah. So don't be that guy. Don't be that camper that kind of breaks a rule or, pushes a boundary. And when you're told, actually, no, you can't push that boundary, no, you can't break that rule, well, now you're just Mr. Cranky Pants and you're just going to be cranky at everybody and make the whole day, it ruins your own camping experience.
Yeah, it's not a great time.
Let alone your camp host's day or their job. So
Give me an example about the complaints.
it's too noisy. I need to have a different spot. I need more sun. I need more shade. I need satellite connection.
Their fire pit is stinky.
I don't like the neighbors I'm beside because they're too noisy or because they've got kids or they've got dogs. I don't want to be beside the playground. I do want to be beside the playground. All kinds of things to complain about.
Doesn't end.
So yeah, just like I said, if you are a campground kind of person, then just be a campground kind of person and embrace that environment and be okay with the rules. If you're not a campground kind of person, don't camp at campgrounds. This is the thing. People would come in and they'd be all cranky. And I'm like, why are you camping here? Go somewhere where you want to camp, where you will have a better experience.
So guys, we've heard it all.
So my motorhome is expensive. Or I have a brand new truck.
I have a brand new truck.
And it's just funny to us because we're like, oh, well, in that case.
Yeah, that changes everything.
That doesn't change everything. It doesn't make any difference. Whether you have a brand new truck or your truck is 50 years old, it actually doesn't make any difference. We all want everybody to have a great camping experience, right? So, sometimes you have a bad day. You get to your campground and you've been driving through traffic and it's hot and the kids are cranky and you're tired and hungry. And we understand as camp hosts that sometimes that's just the way it is. And so, fine, you have a little bit of a meltdown in the office or whatever because things didn't go your way. If that's the case, then a couple hours later or the next day, it goes a long way to come back later and say, I'm sorry, I was a crank yesterday. I was having a bad day. You guys are doing a great job. That solves a multitude. That covers a multitude of sins, as they say. So just be kind, be nice to your camp host, have a great time. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button below. My name is Lisa.
My name's Kent, and I'm Living Light RV.
We're Living Light RV, actually.
Oh.
My name is Lisa.
And I'm Kent, and we're Living Light RV.
We're grabbing life by the tail. But we hope you guys are too. Have fun at your camping situation, whether it's at a campground, boondocking, provincial state parks, whatever it is. And we will see you next Thursday. We definitely want to address our puppy dogs. All those cute little fur babies that you guys have that take everywhere to your campgrounds. Most of them are fabulous, and we are dog lovers. We love dogs. We do also want to caution dog owners of a few things in a campground that your camp host actually does want you to know. Please pick up after your dog immediately after it does its business. The last thing we want to do is be dragging hoses through dog poop at 6 o'clock in the morning. Ew.
Yeah, we don't want that.
What else about dogs?
Dogs that are angry or bark all the time, your neighbors don't want to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
If you know that your dog might bite someone or be super protective of your space or campsite space, please keep it on a really short leash. I know my dad got bit by a dog, as well as our other guy while we were camp hosting. The other guy that was with us as well got attacked by a dog, and that's not a nice thing for a camp host to have to experience. So just make sure that you've got your little fur babies under control. That's it.
That's it.
All right.